of the Nativity. God bless you. Many years ago, before the spirit of peace rested upon the land, there was a time of turmoil because the people strayed from the ways of the Creator, the Maker of all people, the Maker of all the mountains and trees, waters and sky, the one who gave life to all that is and ever was and ever will be. This great one was known as the Great Spirit, the Creator, Grandfather. In his way, his desire was to know all his children and grandchildren. He wanted to love them and provide for all their needs and desires. But over time, their desires were only to please themselves and follow their own ways instead of the ways that Grandfather had given to all his children. Grandfather said to his spirit beings, "My children must come back to me, but they are so far away from my ways. What shall I do?" He said, "I have given them elders with my great words of wisdom. I have given them everything by way of creation and blessing. But still they don't desire me and my ways, but their own. What shall I do? Should I destroy them in their selfishness? Should I allow them to continue to turn from me and serve their own filthy desires? I love my children. I want to have mercy on them. What shall I do? They have rejected my words, my ways, my elders. Who will they listen to? I have spoken to them by thunderings in the sky. I have spoken to them in rumblings of mountains and trembling of the ground. Yet they fear me only for a little while. Then they turn back to their own ways. What can I do? I don't want to destroy my greatest creation, my children. I love them. What can I do? There is only one they will hear. I must send to them my great Son. They will listen to him, because he knows all my ways, all my desires. He will give them a gift as great as himself. He will carry my spirit to them. My spirit will be their continual mentor. This is what I must do to save my children from my wrath. And so Grandfather began to put his plan in motion to send his great Son to them. He searched all the land until he found a maiden who was perfect for his plan, a maiden that was pure and good, a maiden with fear and respect for him, a maiden with faith, a maiden that would carry his son. Her name was Mary. So Grandfather sent one of his spirit beings with his plan to Mary. One day when Mary was alone gathering water at the river for her family, the spirit being came to her. "Mary, don't be afraid. I'm a spirit being sent to you by Grandfather. He is troubled by the people because they follow their own ways instead of the ways he has taught them by the elders for many generations. He loves his children and doesn't want to harm them, but they must listen and obey his words." Mary said, "But how can I help? I am only a lowly maiden." The spirit being said to her, "You have been chosen above all maidens across the land because you are pure and good. You will be given a son whose father is the Great Spirit, a son whose father is the Creator of all. He will teach the people of Grandfather's ways and desires, and he will give a gift to all who receive it. The gift is the Great Spirit. He will guide each one that receives him, and he will keep the people's hearts close to Grandfather. Will you receive the Son?" And Mary said, "Yes, my will is to do the will of Grandfather." And so it was that Mary was with child by the Great Spirit, that she was to be joined in union with a warrior of her people. She told him what the Spirit being said and what had come to pass. The warrior didn't know what to do. He said, "I cannot be joined with you as my wife." That night, the Spirit being came to the warrior. "Joseph," he called. Joseph was afraid when he saw the Spirit being. "Don't be afraid. Grandfather has sent me to you. He wants you to know it is true what Mary has said. She does carry a son from the Great Spirit. You are to be joined with her as your wife. And after she has given birth to her son, then she will be your woman." So Joseph did as the Spirit said. When Mary finally came to her full season with her child, she was ready to give birth. But all the nations were called together for a great gathering. The people had heard there would be a great chief who would lead the people back to the ways of grandfathers. So this gathering was required by the elders. The people came from every direction across the land together at the ceremonial grounds. The people put up every kind of lodge, teepee, willow arbor, and houses made of stone. There were so many people that gathered in the village that the valley looked like a lake of fire as the campfires burned through the night. Joseph took Mary on the long journey to the village from the north country. Mary sat on their pony, which dragged a teepee pole piled with buffalo and deer hides. The journey took many days across rough terrain and cold weather. It was a hard journey for any man, especially for a woman ready to give birth to her first child. They were coming near to the end of their journey, but first they had to cross a swollen river. Mary, Joseph said, "We have to cross this river, but it is so deep and the waters are fast. If we try to go around, it could add several days to our journey and we will miss the gathering." "Then let's cross the river here. There's no other way," Mary said. So Mary climbed down from the pony and they began to cross the river. They only got halfway across when the teepee poles and the hides were swept away by the fast-moving water. "What are we going to do for a lodge?" cried Mary. "Someone will share their lodge with us. You are so close to your time. Surely no one will refuse us," said Joseph. But when they got to the village, they found out there was no room in any lodge. Every space was taken. "But my woman is going to have a baby very soon," Joseph pleaded. But he heard time and time again, "Many of the women are having babies. There's just no room here." Frustrated, they continued looking for a lodge. Finally, they came to a large lodge. The elders said, "We have no room here, but follow this trail. It will take you over the hill. There is a stone shelter we built for shearing sheep. It's not much, but it will keep the rain off of you." So Mary and Joseph made the small shelter their lodge for the night. No blanket, no hides for warmth, only straw and cedar branches for their comfort. And then the baby was delivered. Mary took her shawl and wrapped him in it, and their hearts were full of joy for the promise of the Creator. Far from the village, a small band of hunters were on their way to the gathering. They were a hunting party sent out to provide meat for the people. They had tracked a herd of deer a day's journey from the village and were on their way back with their game. They decided to make the camp for the night and continue on in the morning. They sat around their fire when suddenly a light much greater than their campfire shone all around them, and there were many spirit beings there in the light. "Don't be afraid," said one of the spirit beings. "We bring a great message for all nations, which will bring joy and strength to the people. There is a child that has been born this night. He is given by the Great Spirit. He will teach the people the ways of grandfather, and he will give a great gift to all who will receive it. Go and honor him. This will be a sign to you. You will find him outside the village in a small shelter made of stones. He is wrapped in a shawl, laying upon straw and cedar branches." Then the spirit beings began to sing beautiful songs of the baby's birth and great songs of honor. And after a while, the spirit beings rose to the sky and out of sight. "Come on," one of the warriors exclaimed. "Let's go find this baby and honor him." But before they could leave their camp, there was a noise of many horses. The riders entered the light of the fire. 3 chiefs and many warriors gathered to the hunting party. "Hello! We have journeyed many days following a great star. It was told to us it would lead us to a child who would be the chief of many nations and teach us the ways of grandfathers," proclaimed one of the chiefs. "We were following its path this way when we saw a bright light in your camp and heard much singing," continued the chief. "But when we got closer, the light went out and the singing stopped." "Yes, we were told about the child by spirit beings," explained one of the warriors. "He is born this night outside the village. The spirit beings told us how to know which child it is. We were leaving now to go see this baby born of the grandfather." "Then let's go and see this baby chief," said the leader. The chiefs and warriors and hunting party hurried toward the village. In a short while, they followed the star to the very place where the baby was lying in the stone shelter under the cedar branches and hay and wrapped in a shawl, as the spirit being had said. They told Mary and Joseph of their encounters with the spirit beings and what was said. The chiefs presented the baby with warm blankets, pottery filled with fragrances of sage and sweetgrass, and many horses. The warriors gave him soft deer skins, eagle feathers, and many arrowheads. Mary and Joseph were very proud, but Mary knew that many things would change before the baby chief would come.